Shabbat Shalom family. Our selection today, All Through the Blood.
In shady green pastures, so rich and so sweet, Yah leads. He leads his dear children all along. Oh yes, he does. Now sometimes on the mountaintop, in the darkness of night, Yah leads, he leads his dear children all along. In shady green pastures, so rich and so sweet, Yah leads. He leads his dear children all along. Oh yes, he does. Now sometimes on the mountaintop, in the darkness of night, Yah leads, he leads his dear children all along. Some through the water, some through the water, some through the water, some through the water, some through the flood, some through the flood, some through the flood, some through the fire, some through the fire, some through the fire, some through the fire, all through the blood, all through the blood, all through the blood, all through the blood, through great sorrow, some through great sorrow, some through great sorrow, Yah gives a song, Yah gives a song, Yah gives a song, Yah gives a song, in the night season, in the night season, in the night season, in the night season, and all of the day long. Some through the water, some through the water, some through the water, some through the water, some through the flood, some through the flood, some through the flood, some through the fire, some through the fire, some through the fire, some through the fire, all through the blood, all through the blood, all through the blood, all through the blood, some through great sorrow, some through great sorrow, some through great sorrow, Yah gives a song, Yah gives a song, Yah gives a song, Yah gives a song, in the night season, 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 Yah will make a way, in the night season, out of nowhere, in the night season, in the night season, in the night season, in your night season, in the night season, and all of the day long.
Amen.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, Even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becometh saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We had was a real rough sounding night. A lot of wind, a lot of rain, but praise Yah, everything is starting to clear up, and it is a beautiful Sabbath day, praise Yahweh. But it is always a beautiful Sabbath day, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow. If you are in the land of the living when Yahweh's Sabbath roll around, it is a beautiful Sabbath. No matter what you think you have going on, no matter what problems you think you have, death will take all those problems away, but I think you'd rather be living, you know. So let's not be so quick to want everything to go away, because part of those things are a part of our growth. And what we're going to deal with today, we know that we have these holy days coming up, and there are things that we have to purge out of our dwellings to follow the righteousness of the law. But when you talk about what today's sermon is entitled, Purging Out the Living Leaven, we're talking about not just the leaven of the ingredients that are written in our kitchen cabinets, but there are some ingredients in our hearts that have to be purged out as well, which means that there are people in our lives that also have to be purged out as well. Just listening to, that song, it was absolutely beautiful this morning. But I remember a point where the little girl who led that song came to me and said, I don't want to be in the choir no more. So when you talk about purging out living leaven, come to figure out there were children that were being bullied in the choir by more adult members. Now, they wouldn't bully their family, just, other individuals. Now, imagine part of the purging out of the living leaven is you have to get those things away that are causing issues with the growth of the house. So what if I had just said, okay, you can leave the choir, and at that point I didn't understand what that was about, and there were other people going through those things as well. But Yahweh does this thing, and my elder used to talk about it. You let something go on long enough so you can get everybody who's sympathetic to it, and that way you can get rid of all of them at the same time. So if you get rid of it too early, you still have the same problem over here. You still have the same problem over there. Because what happened? They were all together. You just didn't know they were together. So there are certain situations where you may look and you say, well, why didn't this person discipline this person when they did that? That's because they were in cahoots together. They can't discipline a person when they are the ones that's actually leading the individual into that. But time has to show you that. So instead of going through the same thing 15 times over, let all 15 get together and open the door and let them all out. See, when you purging out your leaven, you don't just keep going to the trash can 20 different times. You find the things that has the leaven in them and you put them in the leaven box. You find something else that's got the leaven in it, you put it in the leaven box. If you can't use that before unleavened bread, everything in that box go out at the same time. Pay attention to how Yahweh deal in your life. He boxing stuff up. You just not paying attention. He boxing it up. He finna get rid of everything in this box. And the stuff in the box will turn around and tell you, not knowing that it's in the box. Is a purging going on? Not knowing that they the ones finna get purged. It's amazing how that works. So pay attention. The same concepts that Yahweh has in here where we're dealing with natural purging, he's also dealing with spiritual purging right before your eyes. But you'll notice something else, though, that's very interesting. There will be some that will be really close to the purging, but they make it through every time. Pay attention. They'll be close. They'll be at some point sympathetic, and right at the nick of time, they jump. You know what? That don't look like it's the right side. Mm-hmm. And they'll jump. This my side. And they jump. Woof, everybody else go. And with every one of the schisms, they will be close because people pull them in. See, they know that there are certain people that have a dynamic personality, so they want those people to be a part of their isms and schisms. So that's why those individuals keep getting pulled into things. But right when it comes down to the separation, they make the cut and stay on the island every time. Pay attention. Let's begin today's sermon in Deuteronomy chapter 16, and we're going to read verses 1 through 8. And today's sermon is entitled, Purging Out the Living Leaven.
Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto Yahweh your El. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh your El brought you forth out of Egypt by night.
Right. So Yahweh is setting forth a culture for the children of Israel, and he's starting while they are still in captivity. He is giving them instructions on how they're going to do things as they get to this land that he has promised them. Now, they don't have the ability to do all of these things where they are. So you kind of understand how Yahweh deals. He doesn't wait to give you, for you to find yourself with $1 million and then you learn how to manage money. He'll start teaching you how to manage money before you get in it. And you're like, hey, I don't know why I need this. It's really easy to manage money. I got 15 cents left over when the check comes. But you learn in that process that you don't have a lot. And at that point, man, you learn how to figure out the difference between due date and cutoff date. You start working in that, then when he turns around and give you money, oh, you're good. But see, it was that period of time without money that you learn how to handle money. See, having money don't make you learn how to handle it. Having money makes you spend money. You don't have to know how to handle money to have money. As long as it keep coming in, all you got to do, look at the TV, how many stars end up in houses that look like yours in 10 years. And you like, didn't that dude have a Bentley on TV 2 years ago? Why he look like he lived next door to me? Because money kept coming and he kept spending. He didn't know how to handle money, but money kept coming in. See, it's that period where you don't have that teaches you how to have. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 2. You shall therefore sacrifice the Passover unto Yahweh your El of the flock and the herd in the place which Yahweh shall choose to place his name there. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction. For you came forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that you may remember the day when you came forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of your life.
That you may remember how you came forth out of Egypt. You didn't have the opportunity to even leaven the bread. So then you ask yourself a question. You have to pause here. Is the Feast of Unleavened Bread because you didn't have time to leaven it? Or did he make sure you didn't have time to leaven it because he was going to tell you about Feast of Unleavened Bread? Go ahead.
And there shall be no leavened bread seen with you in all your coasts 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh which you sacrifice the first day at even remain all night until the morning.
So then now, here comes another portion of the question. If it was just about you not having time to leaven the bread, why is it a whole week? Go ahead.
You may not sacrifice the Passover within any of your gates, which Yahweh your El gives you.
You may not sacrifice the Passover within any of your gates, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you. Why? Because Yahweh is setting forth, this is not a regular thing. Don't normalize the holy things that I've given unto you. See, you have some people that have no choice. We have members that are spread all the way across the country. So then they are keeping the Passover at their house, but they're with us in spirit. That does not excuse the person who lives down the street and say, I'm just going to, I'm going to put a little lamb on the grill outside in the back. We're going to set up a tent. There ain't no excuse for that. Go ahead.
But at the place which Yahweh your El shall choose to place his name in, there you shall sacrifice the Passover at even.
Right, and we have to ask ourselves, has Yahweh placed his name at your dwelling if there is a holy place within distance to you? Now, if you can honestly answer that question and believe that, and some people really believe that. If you believe that, by all means, please do that. Because all you're going to do is mess up our gathering if you come here. Please stay at your house. Please. I'm going to get my Jane Brown on. Please. Mr. Brown, throw my cape. I was just playing. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
At the going down of the sun, at the season that you came forth out of Egypt. And you shall roast it and eat it in the place which Yahweh your El shall choose. And you shall turn in the morning and go on to your tents. 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh your El. You shall do no work therein.
All right. So then we have this being set at a certain time. So, brother, will you read the definition? Let's go to the next graphic and read the definition of Abib.
From H24, from an unused root, meaning to be tender, green, that is a young ear of grain. Hence the name of the month Abib, or Nisan, Abib, ear, green ears of corn.
Right, and we get these other names as we go through other captivities that come out. But when you deal with it, what that's telling you is that what time of year it is. We know that the pagan New Year happens in January, all right? There is absolutely, positively nothing green anywhere in no place in January. So we know that there's already a difference between Yahweh's New Year and the New Year of man. We just by the definition of one word, we can see that is so. Let's go to the next definition. Did you have something, brother?
Yeah, I was just, say, we were talking about this in Bible study, how people get into the truth and think that, it's boring, I can't do this. Man, when you look at the party that he set forth, he's saying you shall turn in the morning and go to your tents. He's been up all night partying.
But see, that's what I try to say. People want to be shindiggerers, but they don't get shindiggery right. See? Yahweh knows how to throw a shindig, see? But what we want to do, we want to be all, enveloped in shindiggerousness, but we don't want to deal with how it's supposed to be done. Yahweh is going to give you some real direction on how to do this. We don't even party right. Yeah, I have to tell these young folks, they go out to a party and they can't even go to work the next day. We be looking at them like, y'all not cut from the same cloth. What is wrong with this generation? We partied, our work clothes was already in the car. Okay? So we partied, right? And they was like, bro, you live that way. Oh no, I gotta go to work. So we don't went to the club. We don't went to Waffle House or IHOP. Okay, so we eating, all right? And they saying, all right, so you finna go home? Oh, no. You might see one cat go to the bathroom with a bag. Them is work clothes. So now everybody putting on their work clothes, they on their way back to work. This generation like, oh, no, I'm gonna sleep till tomorrow. What? The hell is wrong with y'all? Then we go in and do 8, some 10. Now, by the end of that 10 now, we ain't quite right, but we made it. If we work at a register, somebody got some free stuff. Ma'am, I ain't got time. Just put it in the bag. Hey, I ain't got time. Go on, look. You know how long it's gonna take me to do a return on this right here? Look, just go on, praise him. Go on, head on. Go ahead, bro.
H24, Brown Driver Briggs. Fresh, young barley, ears, barley. Month of ear forming, of greening, of crop, of growing green, Abib. Month of Exodus and Passover, March or April.
All right. So when we deal with that, then we have to deal with the differences between the new year that we were given by Yahweh and then the new year that was given unto us by man. So let's go to the next graphic and read about Janus.
Janus, the two-headed god, Janus. In Roman religion, the animistic spirit of doorways, Janue.
Now, that already says something. Janue. You don't have to be a genius to figure out where that's going. So the month, the celebration, everything is based around this Roman god. Go ahead.
And archways, Janai. In Roman mythology, Janus was the god of doors, gates, and transitions.
Now, as we read this, I looked at this in several places, even Britannica.com. You're going to be like, this whole write-up, the most complete write-up that I've found was not on one of those websites. Do you know that this comes from a website from a lock company? This is Anderson Doors website. Just so you understand how when the Gentiles get into naming their company and the things that they do, they put all of their Roman gods, their Greek gods, they put it all into the naming of the company and the foundation, their mantra, their everything that they have, all of it is in there. So whether you know it or not, they are dealing with their gods and causing you to deal with their gods. This comes from a lock company's website. If you look at Anderson Doors, this is on their website. I was amazed. I threw the other stuff away. I said, Britannica, you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get it this week. You didn't make the cut. Anderson Doors and Locks did. But Locks, this is the God of doorways. Did you catch it? Did you catch it? All right. Now watch how everybody else does something. You might find some water company and then they're called Poseidon. What? Pay attention. All of these, they know what they're doing. We are the ones that don't know what we're doing. And we'll be the ones that'll fight you down in the hall when somebody tell us what it is. You know, you don't know what you're talking about. See, that's that cult you in that keeps telling you all that stuff. Stop listening to them. They're taking away your spirits. Right. Read, bro.
Janus represented the middle ground between both concrete and abstract dualities such as life, death, beginning, end, youth, adulthood, rural, urban, war, peace, and barbarism, civilization.
Right. So understand the research that they did to put all of those things together. And it took me, after going to several other places, I realized, hey, they already did their research right here. Because I got to go in several different places to get all the stuff that they got. And this is not even somebody who's pushing a God. They're trying to get you to buy their locks. But they just want to let you know how serious they are about doorways. Okay? We worship doorways. You understand what I'm saying to you? We're going to introduce y'all to the God of locks. Check that out. Go ahead.
Janus was known as the initiator of human life.
Now you have to pause right there. So now we're about to get into some deeper level things. If Janus is known as the initiator of human life, you have to understand some things that ended up being placed inside of Christianity that we were taken a part of, and we were told in those commandments, you shall worship no other gods before me. Understand when Janus is worshipped. Go ahead.
Transformations between stages of life and shifts from one historical era to another.
All right, transformation between stages. All right, New Year's is the transformation between the old year and the new year. All right? So that means Janus is the first god worshipped in the new year. Go ahead.
Ancient Romans believed Janus ruled over life events such as weddings, births, and deaths. He oversaw seasonal events such as planting, harvest, seasonal changes, and the new year.
Go ahead, next graphic.
According to Roman mythology, Janus was present at the beginning of the world. As the god of gates, Janus guarded the gates of heaven and held access to heaven and other gods.
Okay, so understand, as these things are put into play, how they are impacting the way we deal with the things that are written in this book. All right? So you have something that they already dealt with. Then it gets introduced into the culture of what's written here. So we'll deal with what's written here, but then allow this to creep in. Go ahead.
For this reason, Janus was often invoked first in ancient Roman religious ceremonies.
He was invoked first. Thus, the beginning of the month is set for him. They make sure that he is the first thing worshipped. Go ahead.
And during public sacrifices, offerings were given to Janus before any other deity. In fact, there's evidence that Janus was worshipped long before many of the other Roman gods, dating all the way back to the time of Romulus, the founder and first ruler of Rome. And if you've ever wondered how the month of January got its name, you have Janus to thank. As the Roman god of beginnings and transitions, Janus is the namesake of January, the first month of a new year.
So we see, and these are Gentiles that are saying this. So I need, so a lot of times when we put stuff out, people say, you know, that's them. I ain't write this. I need for you to hear what they say about what they do. So this is not what I say about what they do. This is what they say about what they do. See, that is always your best indicator. Listen to what somebody else say about what they do. And you see how much study they are putting in to what they do. They're just not throwing some things together. Go ahead.
Why does Janus have two faces? What is unusual about the god Janus is his iconic image. As the god of transitions and dualities, Janus is portrayed with two faces, one facing the past and one facing the future. He also holds a key in his right hand, which symbolizes his protection of doors, gates.
Now you understand why they have this deep love for the god Janus as a door and lock company. And one of those images, he's sitting there holding a key. So to promote their company, they are getting all into this god. So you might have certain things that may be placed on your door that you don't have no idea that they are putting forth. Because you just pay to get a lock and a door. You don't know that this is part of their God worship that they done put in the door. Go ahead.
Thresholds and other separations or openings between spatial boundaries. In ancient Rome, the symbol of the key also signified that a traveler has come to find safe harbor or trade goods in peace.
Right, and this is why you find people that have those symbols at their door. It's no different than the Jewish have that mezuzah at their door. Then they start using the things like this is going to be protection for their house. See, so you find, especially when you start intermingling with cultures, things start to mean different things other than what they were supposed to be set for. Go ahead. Let's go to the next graphic.
What is a Janus coin? Janus also oversaw the initiation of financial enterprises and humankind's transition from barbarism to civilization. A major aspect of this was the creation of coins. Roman myth says that Janus was the first among the gods or humans to mint coins. Because of this, the image of his double-faced head appeared on many Roman coins. These coins can still be found in museums today, and representations of Janus coins are popular on jewelry.
And if any of us watch the football games around New Year's, you finna find the Janus Mutual Fund, you finna find those two-headed commercials on constantly when the New Year starts and those New Year's games start coming on. All you see back to back, they are worshiping their God, and we're trying to watch football. They got it stuck all in there. This Janus Mutual Fund commercial don't come on until football. All year long, you don't see that commercial. Come when the college football playoffs, all them start going on, here come all of these commercials back to back. They are in the process of worshiping Janus, and you don't even know it. You are then participating in the worship of their god Janus, and going out to the football game. They have certain things that are happening. You don't know that, but you participating in it, not even knowing it. Because they find creative ways to mingle it into other things. Now, going to the next graphic, we have what our people did because we decided we wasn't gonna go to the club no more because we were gonna be better people. We've been partying every New Year, but this time, child, we're gonna spend all day with the Lord. So we thought we was gonna be better, only to find out that the same thing that was going on in the club was going on in the church. Matter of fact, it was deeper in the church. The church has watch night service, which includes a mock ritual of the two-headed god Janus. The watch night celebration is capped off by a ritual that demands the people to look at the back door and then turn around facing the front or where the preacher is standing. Two-headed god, past, future. This happens at the precise moment to make Janus the first god that will be worshipped in the new year of the pagan. Many people have unknowingly made Janus the first god they have worshipped in the beginning of their year. Remember the commandment, You shall have no other gods before me. So they show up to worship God and end up professing another God before the God they are attempting to worship. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12. And you have to ask yourself, where did the watch night service come from? We can't find it anywhere in this book. And it is the same from church to church. You leave one church and you say, you know what, I'm gonna have watch night at this church this year. It's exactly the same ritual. Where did that ritual come from? Because you can't find it from Genesis to Revelation. How do they all have the same ritual, but it's not written anywhere? Where did they get that from? Who taught them that ritual? See, now that was then implanted into Christianity. So when you talk about this thing, and people don't like to deal with that, when Christianity is called this gray whore, this woman who will not abide in her house, her feet abide not in her house. What is that talking about? Is it talking about the religion itself? No, all of the things that people have allowed to be placed in it. And then once we get accustomed to something, we don't want to change it. Let me tell you something. There are too many Christians with PhDs who know this, but will not change it. They know the same thing, but they found it out after they done fell in love. And y'all know what that is. That's why, people have that Walmart face, because they want you to fall in love before you find out they're crazy. You know how that works. Well, I'm in love now, but, I didn't know, that she howled at the moon, Couple of months you out there with her. Ooh, right. Same concept. They make sure that they fall in love before you find out all these other things, and then we don't want to go in and change that. But there's too many educated people sitting in those pews. They have read these things. They have found these things out. You go to the oldest woman in the church and say Yahweh. She said, oh, that's God's name, baby. Now, how you know that? And how he don't know that? Because he ain't never said it. Oh, yeah, he said in smaller circles. He said when they in their meetings over there. He said in this corner of the church. He won't say it in the pulpit. But he know it. There's not one person that has gone to seminary school that don't know who Yahweh and Yahshua is. You think that you are telling them something that they don't know. They have always known. They just knew what they had to do to make money. And the name of Yahshua wasn't breaking the bank. But Jesus gets you a special entry door. You have to consider something. With all the offerings that churches pick up, have you ever seen a pastor in a bank? You do realize they get to enter through another door, right? Come on, bro. There's a church on every corner. Tell me when you ever seen pastor at the. How you think the Black Panther dude got locked up? He went to the bank to try and withdraw $12,000. They said so, and he just wrote the note discreetly. They said, "Oh hell no, he tried to rob us. He put a bomb, a gun. He done slid a note." That's called a withdrawal slip. I got it right over there. You got all of them. It's a bunch of them over there. What are you talking about? He looked like he was withdrawing too much money. They had to call the authorities. And he handed me this secret note. It said withdrawal. How the hell is that secret? You just printed out 10,000 of them. So yeah, they get to go. And maybe he ain't been rich long. I don't know. But one thing you find out, when certain people go to the bank, you notice they don't go to the front. No. You see them and they'll stand there and the people like, okay. And they come over and open that side door. And they go over on that side. And I knew when I saw it, I said, oh yeah, if you got the ass, you can't afford it. I cannot afford whatever the hell is going on in that side of the bank. Because I never knew there was a side of the bank. So I know I couldn't afford whatever that it was that was going over there. But it was interesting to see. I was like, but I tell you what, everybody in here know what the hell that is except me. Interesting. And they knew the individual. And they just came in with their bags and just stood there. Ain't nobody said nothing. Looked at that individual and they said, and they shut that they shut that one down. All right, sir, she'll take you. What? Why won't you take? What the hell going on over there? Then that door open. Interesting. Interesting. Go ahead, brother. Where we at?
Exodus chapter 12.
Exodus chapter 12, and let's start with verses 1 through 20.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Right. This is the beginning of your year. The same time of year where you're going to keep the Passover is going to be the beginning of your year. All right? Never mind that the other people going to call you fools. They're going to call you April fools. They have their beginning in January so they can worship their god Janus. Okay? So then you have to pay attention also to how haters operate. What they want to do is somehow give you low self-esteem about what you're doing right. Pay attention to how haters operate. So they want to call you names because you're doing it right. So you are the April Fool. You see? So that way you'll get some kind of low self-esteem. I don't want to be no fool. I'd rather be a January idiot than an April Fool. You go right ahead then. But that's what the game is. To try and give you some sort of low self-esteem about what it is you're doing. Go ahead.
It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak you unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb.
Even the way that Yahweh orchestrates things, he orchestrates things so that we will learn to share with one another. See, the invention of the refrigerator has made us more covetous. So instead of sharing with our neighbor,
you know what, just put that lamb in the deep freezer, baby. We'll eat it later.
but why don't we invite the neighbor?
They need to get their own lamb. And here, we season this. Girl, this stuff is delicious. We're not just gonna get them over there. I mean, we don't like them like that.
Yahweh has laws orchestrated. Look, share this with your neighbor. And y'all know all you got to do to make black folks show up is just pull out a grill. You don't even actually have to have meat on it. Fire it up.
Is that smoke?
Is that smoke? Hey, what's happening there? Cousin P, how you doing, bro? What you about to cook over there? Ain't no meat even hit the grill yet. Ain't but smoke. That's all you got to do. Make us show up. And consider Yahweh's law. You do something wrong, put some meat on the grill. You do something right, put some meat on the grill. You want to glorify me and rejoice? Put some meat on the grill. How you gonna not love a God like that? How you gonna not love a God like that? You know what I'm saying? You bet not bring it without no salt. What? How you gonna not love a God like that, man? Go ahead, brother.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. you shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood, and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with herbs they shall eat it.
And with
bitter herbs, they shall
eat it. You know, this encompasses several things. Some people's like, well, you know, why y'all always have collard greens and all these other things? We make sure we got some bitter herbs. Go ahead.
Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof.
Now that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to get used to be looking at the head. I'm not really. I know you island brothers. That's normal for y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is not a normal situation for a brother like myself. I'm not accustomed to looking at eye sockets of anything that I am about to eat. All right, that messes with my mental. Go ahead, bro.
And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remains of it until the morning you shall burn with fire.
Mm-hmm. Now understand something. This is all pertaining to the offering and the laws concerning that. Understand, the lamb that we're going to eat on Passover will not be our offering. We have a perfect offering. That was Yeshua. And why do I say that? Because people ask me, do we have to throw this out tonight? I wish a knuckle would throw out some of this lamb. Let me find out that you... Boy, read, bro.
And thus shall you eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And you shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt.
So this is a serious situation, okay? Yahweh is about to come through and kill these Egyptians. So then you have to ask yourself, is that one of the reasons why Moshe killed a man for harming a Hebrew, and Yahweh never said one thing about it? But Yahweh refused him from going in the land because he murmured or hit the rock instead of speaking to it. But you ain't say that when he killed it, dude. So I'm like, okay, let me wait. Kill a man, dig a hole, put him in it, hit the rock. Okay. Kill a man, put him in a hole, cover him with sand, hit the rock. Now, if I was the dude sitting at judgment, I would definitely pick Rockman and tell him, you come on through, and let the murderer dude not come through. But Yahweh doesn't judge how we judge, now does he? Go ahead.
Both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I'll execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see the blood, I'll pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you.
Save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. You have a lot of people that are trying to keep this law, and then they go so far out, they are starving themselves on the Sabbath. They're eating cold cuts. You know, they're eating out, they're drinking cold coffee. You know, they're doing everything not to believing that they're going to break Yahweh's law. You know, when you talk about keeping the Sabbath, it being a peaceful and holy day, you know, you have to consider those things. What would be your purpose for lighting that fire? Are you going to work, or are you going to nourish yourself that you might enjoy his Sabbath? How are you going to enjoy his Sabbath being hungry all day? It's some things that we don't even consider. People say, I'm gonna keep the law. I will not burn a fire in my habitation at all. You crank up that car to get here, then. You do know it was a fire in there, right? See, if you ain't never been with your crazy uncle while he working on the car, and he said, look out there, the fire up. You like, what is he talking about? It's a fire up. It's a car, man. He's crazy. And your crazy uncle put his hand right there on the spark plug. Yep, that got fire on it. That got fire on it. Man, you gonna die. Stop doing that. He's like, oh, no, it ain't gonna kill you, boy. You need to make you tingle a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You may be dizzy going to the mailbox, you know what I'm saying? But you gonna live. Stop being such a punk. Go ahead, man.
Verse 17. And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, you shall eat unleavened bread, until the 21st day of the month at even. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eats that which is leavened, even that soul should be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land.
Whether he be a stranger or born in the land. 7 days there should be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eats that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. And you have to watch what Yahweh does. People say, well, this is the letter of the law. But then you find people get baptized, understand the law, unleavened bread come, you see them with a muffin the size of their head. Or you see them with some Texas toast right in front of you. Later on, what happened? Yahweh cut them off from the people of Israel. What the word say? For you know it, they're out there eating that Texas toast by themselves. Right. It's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Go ahead.
You shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread.
All right, we're going to pause right there, and we're going to come back to that. But I want my brother to read some of these things in preparing for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So, brother, I want you to read some of these things here. And these are things normally our sisters know more than us. So, sisters they're going to probably nod out on this part. They like,
We've been doing that.
We need to make sure y'all know this. Go ahead.
What is leaven? Preparing for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What ingredients are considered leavening agents? There are many different leavening agents. The following are some of the most common. Baking powder, sodium bicarbonate, aka baking soda, found in self-rising flour.
Self-rising. Remember, before they leaven it, that unleavened bread is flat. The leavened bread rises. Okay? Go ahead.
Yeast or yeast extract, sourdough starter, wild yeast. Ammonium bicarbonate, aka baker's ammonia, leavening agent found in breads and cookies, used as smelling salt. Commercial synthetic potassium bicarbonate, called pearl ash, is a leavening agent. Fruits and veggies naturally contain potassium bicarbonate. Calcium phosphate, synthetic calcium added to breads, breakfast bars, cereals, crackers, and some pastas to improve deficiencies.
So, understanding some of these things, you have to be very careful during this week. This will not be the week to go out to eat. This is not the week to go out to eat. You need to be, and you need to be careful who you're hanging out with. Because you'll be in the middle of unleavened bread and somebody you're hanging out with,
Hey, man, you want to go get a burger? You know what? I've been wanting a burger and I couldn't figure out why I ain't get one.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why you didn't get one. But see, hanging around monkey business, now you got a burger stuck in your mouth. Why? Because you're hanging out with monkey business. You let monkey business swing on them trees over there. You take care of your business. Go ahead.
Number 7, monocalcium phosphate, calcium dihydrogen phosphate, leavening acid compound used in breads and baked goods. Sodium aluminum sulfate, leavening acid compound found in baking powders, donuts, refrigerated dough, and cake mixes. What foods should I beware of when preparing for the Feast of Unleavened Bread? Foods that commonly contain leavening ingredients, such as cakes, cookies, pies, breads, and pastries, are readily identifiable. However, may other food items such as seasoning mixes and canned goods may also contain leavening ingredients. Check your flour, cornmeal, and other such items to be sure that they are not the self-rising variety. Read labels carefully for leavening ingredients. When in doubt, err on the side of caution and throw it out.
Right. And as it is written, it shall not be found anywhere in your coast. Okay. Leaven is a representation of sin. You can't give your sin to somebody else. You can't ask people to hold your sin till Tuesday.
And I come back and get what's left over of my sin Wednesday.
Are you kidding right now? And you have to stop people because they be in the midst of telling other people how to circumvent this process.
Look, you ain't got to get rid of that. Look, just take it downstairs, put it in the freezer down there. Okay, you don't go down there that much. Okay, so.
And you walk up on that and be like, what you just say? That's why folks like to pull y'all off to the side and have these conversations. You need to stop having them sidebar conversations because that's where people are losing their salvation at. And you have to ask yourself, why don't you have that conversation in front of everybody? Tell me again how you don't take out all your stuff. Tell me again why it's okay to have this toast. Tell it to everybody. Don't just go in the corner and tell it to that little one person over there. Tell it to everybody. And y'all, when they pull y'all in the corner, y'all need to stop letting them stay in the corner. Say, oh, that sounds interesting. Come out here to the circle. Come here. Y'all come on over here. Everybody come over here. They got something to say about the Texas toast.
Go ahead, Toast, tell them.
Because that's what you're going to be. Toast. Go ahead, brother. Let's go. Go ahead. You got something?
In this thing, I know we went through a lot of foods and breads, but please be wary that it's also in your drinking ingredients, especially alcohol.
Yeah. Yep. You know, a lot of times, you know, we have these people mix things so much. Sometimes you can go overboard because they have so many things that are mixed. The things that I definitely want to put my emphasis on things that we are going to ingest. All right, you put all of your energy there, and then you work toward anything else that you have. But things that are going in your mouth. But understand, the word says, it shall not be found in your habitation. But do understand, our people, when mixing things like these people mix things, you know, they'll put some stuff in something, and you just be like, why would you even put that in there? Well, why would you do that? And then you have to keep checking the same products. Because what happens is, last year, that particular item was clean. Then they made a change. They figured out they could save some money if they did this and then did this. Now that same thing that you've gotten accustomed to having is now not good for you to have during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. When you go into the stores there, you'll see, especially if you go to a store near a Jewish area, they're going to have a whole rack. If you go over there by North Druid Hills, you go in the front, the whole front, they got a Passover section. and they'll have signs on it saying kosher for Passover, which is really no such animal. It should be kosher for unleavened bread, but they call the entire thing Passover. Okay, so that's for unleavened bread is what that means. So then that is supposed to mean that these things don't contain the things that you're not supposed to have during unleavened bread. But you have to pay attention, because a lot of their stuff also means that some whack priest prayed over it, and then all of a sudden it became holy. So be very careful. You be like, no, this stuff just say good, because it says, you know what I'm saying, Rabbi Kovakovich, pray over this. And pay attention. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16. Imagine me trying to say that to my God. No, it's cool, Yeshua. No, Yahweh, no, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Rabbi, pray over this. What? Boy, come here. Ain't nothing I'm going to be able to say when he give me that whooping. Matthew chapter 16, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O you hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times? A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Janus. And he left them and departed. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yeshua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. So now this is a different type of leaven. He is warning them about the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. This doesn't have any thing to do with the ingredients in bread and cakes and cookies. He's talking about some different kind of ingredients here. Go ahead. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread.
When you hear something bump like that, you wait to see if you hear, ah!
Or feet step.
You know? Thank you, brother, for going to check on that. Make sure we ain't got somebody laying under a table. Go ahead.
Which when Yeshua perceived, he said unto them, O you of little faith, why reason you among yourselves, because you have brought no bread? Do you not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets you took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets you took up? How is it that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
So the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees was leaven. Now, Yahweh has us removing leaven out of our house. Have you been paying attention that Yahweh has removed leaven out of his house? Pay attention. If doctrine, erroneous doctrine is leaven, when you hear it says, you know, those heresies, those are leaven. That leaven must then be removed. Yahweh not asking you to do something that he's not doing. He cleans his house too. He let those heresies go on long enough, and then he removed them from his house. He is not doing something that he is not expecting you to do. He's not going to ask you to do something that he's not going to do. When he tells Abram, offer up his son, why you think he asking him that? Because I'm going to have to do the same thing. I ain't asking you to do something that I ain't going to do, but I'm going to give you your son back just like I'm going to get my son back. But you still gonna have to suffer in turmoil in this whole period going to sacrifice him until I stop you. But Yahweh don't operate in hypocrisy. If he asks you to do something, it's because he either is going to do it or he already has. Let's go to, I want you to read this on the next graphic here. Proverbs 22, and I want you to read verse 10.
Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Yes, strife and reproach shall cease.
For those who have been around, you can feel the difference when scorners are cast out. You can feel the difference. I feel like our holy days already got holier. You feel it before they even get here. Why? Because Yahweh has gotten rid of some leaven. He's not going to do something that he's not expecting of you. He expects you to get rid of leaven in your life as well. You find out something is leaven unto you, it is your duty to remove it. One bit of leaven leavens the whole lump. He expects that of you. Why are you leaving that leaven there? You see what it's doing to your house. But you let it stay there.
You know, I don't want to be difficult or nothing. I don't want to seem, like, no different kind of individual, so I'm trying to be nice about it.
Ain't that nice about lake of fire? That leaven cannot stay in your habitation. And that leaven can take many forms. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 21.
$687.
All right, appreciate it. Who could possibly be calling at this point? We busy. Proverbs 21. And we're going to start that at verse 19.
It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman.
Because the woman is helping direct the position of the man, whether he knows it or not, whether he accepts it or not. So if he is in dwelling with a contentious and angry woman, that is affecting him with all the strength that Samson had. He was overcome by the nagging of a woman. She just nagged him, and he just got tired. She was persistent.
So you're not gonna tell me? So you're not gonna tell me? So you're not gonna tell me? You don't love me. You're not gonna tell me. If you love me, you'll tell me. You're not gonna tell me. I knew you gonna tell me. Why you ain't told me? You should already told me. Why you ain't told me?
Then every time he tell her, she then got to see if she can prove if it's right.
Samson, your enemy's in here. Oh, you lied to me. You said you told me. You ain't tell me. You told me a lie. Why you didn't tell me? I thought you said you loved me. So you gonna tell me? So you gonna tell me? Why you ain't told me? You gonna tell me? You gonna tell me?
Doggone it, woman! If you cut my hair off, all my strength gonna leave. Now just leave me alone now.
Okay, y'all, come on. He done told me.
With all that strength, he can pull down the weight holding columns of a building. But he couldn't withstand the soft push The soft push. Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 20. There is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spends it up. He that follows after righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness and honor. A wise man scales the city of the mighty and casts down the strength of the confidence thereof. Whoso keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps his soul from troubles. Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath.
Right. You can tell the proud wrath. You can see the proud wrath. And you understand why Yahweh has to cast it out. Understand, it will be leaven in your feast if it's allowed to stay. Go ahead.
The desire of the slothful kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. He covets greedily all the day long, but the righteous gives and spares not. The sacrifice of the wicked is abomination. How much more when he brings it with a wicked mind? A false witness shall perish, but the man that hears speaketh constantly. A wicked man hardens his face, but as for the upright, he directs his way. There is no wisdom, nor understanding, nor counsel against Yahweh. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of Yah.
Right, which means that you can prepare all the defenses that you need or that you feel like you need to do. Ultimately, it's Yahweh who's going to defend you. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do what you need to do to prepare yourself. But understand, the success or failure in that is based on your situation with your Elohim. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 15. Proverbs 15, and let's read verses 1 through 12.
A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools pours out foolishness. The eyes of Yahweh are in every place, beholding the evil and the good.
The eyes of Yahweh are in every place, beholding evil and good. Because he does not execute judgment speedily, we tend to believe that he is such a one as ourselves. But he's not going to run out of time. He's not pushed for time. So he allows men the opportunity to either stay in what they're in or repent and turn back. So when it comes down to it, man can't say, well, I didn't have an opportunity to change. All of us say that. We've been doing something for 30 years. I ain't have an opportunity to change. Well, how many more years you needed? Woke up. You've been doing it for 30 years?
You should have gave me 31, Yahweh.
Right. Go ahead, bro.
A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. A fool despises his father's instruction, but he that regards reproof is prudent.
Right. You will find out, that there's some that you can correct and they have a clearer path towards salvation. And others, when you correct them, they just hate you. Go ahead.
In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. The lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the heart of the foolish does not so. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to Yahweh, but the prayer of the upright is his delight.
I need you to weigh the balance in this. The sacrifice of the wicked. That means the wicked actually has something of substance to offer. All right? Now pay attention. His offering, his substance, his sacrifice is an abomination. All right? The prayer of the upright, he may not have anything to give. He's just talking to Yahweh. Yahweh has more delight in his conversation than the sacrifice of the wicked. The wicked may have much money to give. They may have much things to give. It is not as delightful to Yahweh as the prayer of someone who tries to be just. Go ahead, bro.
The way of the wicked is an abomination unto Yahweh, but he loves him that follows after righteousness. Correction is grievous unto him that forsake the way.
Correction is grievous unto him who really doesn't want to walk anyway. It is grievous unto him. He doesn't want to walk. Go ahead.
And he that hates reproof shall die.
Uh-huh.
Hell and destruction are before Yahweh. How much more then the hearts of the children of men? A scorner loves not one that reproves him, neither will he go unto the wise.
A scorner loves not one that reproves him. You reprove a scorner, he is definitely going to hate you because he does not want to be corrected. And you can watch it clearly when you have people who have children that they don't discipline. When you come up and say, hey, little boy, sit down. What's wrong with that little boy? Ain't nobody ever told that little boy to sit down. You just broke everything inside that little boy. This little boy has never heard sit down. He has been directing his parents. He is raising his parents up in the way that they should go. And when he get grown, they will not depart. Because he has trained them well. And you can tell when a child has trained an adult. The child know who to play. When that child does not like you because you done told him, sit down. When you walk in the room, the kid, they go sit down somewhere, right? But then when they find that mama or that daddy who they can play, all of a sudden, drama time. Wham! I said wham, mama. I said wham. I said wham. And watch the mama jump up. Oh, baby, what you need? Oh, you need this. Yeah, I'm running that. Right. So you see something 2 feet, running something 5'9". Kid won't have no tear nowhere in their eye. Can't even, if they don't even have enough spit to take one and just put it there. But they know I can run this individual with sound. Hey, how you train a dog with the electric fence? He go past a certain, hey, bro. Then he go to the backyard. He figure out, okay, the blue car. The brown fence. He figure out his boundaries. You know, after that, you can cut the power off. He'll never pass any of those things again. Done deal. Power can be off for years. All the rest of the dogs just walking down the street. Your dog's still in the yard. I want to go, but you know what I'm saying? The other dog like, come on out here, man, the power off. I ain't trying to get shot. What happened? They done trained that dog. That dog has gotten trained by trauma. So either you training the child or the child is training you. Who's being trained? Go ahead, bro. That was it. 12. Let's go to Proverbs 14 and let's start that at verse 1.
Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish plucks it down with her hands.
Uh-huh. Now, people don't even know sometimes when they plucking their house down. Pulling it down brick by brick. Because you get consumed in I think, I feel, I believe. Not realizing that you're pulling bricks out of it. Go ahead.
He that walks in his uprightness fears Yahweh. but he that is perverse in his ways despises him. In the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve them. Where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increases by the strength of the ox. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies.
Right. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. A false witness will do whatever they have to do and say whatever they have to say to try and prove their point. And they don't care who they have to lie on. The law of Yahweh don't mean anything to them. To them, showing up on the Sabbath is a shindig. Go ahead.
A scorner seeks wisdom and finds it not.
A scorner seeks wisdom, but he finds it not. So the scorner is book smart but street dumb. They seek wisdom, but they can't really find it. Because wisdom and knowledge is something different. That's why they can read things in a book, so they can be book smart, but all the while street dumb. Because the wisdom never accompanies the knowledge. Go ahead.
But knowledge is easy unto him that understands. Go from the presence of a foolish man, when you perceiveth not in him the lips of knowledge.
Right. But what we gonna do? We're gonna hang around them because that's our friend. But they testifying unto you what type of individual they are. See, it was friends that got me kicked out of school. People I was hanging with. But I realized very quickly, hey, they still at their house and I'm in the country taking a bath out of a tin wash pot. They got a bathtub. Them wash-ups still in my head to this day. Grandmama didn't have no tub. Fill that tub up with water, baby. No, you said the tub in the bathroom. No, baby, the tin tub. What? And then just stand in there. Mm-hmm. And then you clean yourself out right there in the thing, and then go pour the water out the bag. What? But all my so-called friends, they get to soak in the water. Only thing I'm soaking is feet. You want to get your whole body warm? Just pour it on down in there. But be careful not to keep moving, baby. You splash it. What? Right. You have to be able to remove that leaven out of your life, or that leaven gonna take you down. Go ahead.
The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools make a mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor. The heart knows his own bitterness, and a stranger does not intermeddle with his joy. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. There is a way which seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
There is a way which seems right. See, this is why you can't get caught up in I think, I feel, I believe. This is why we have to spend some time in his law, and we have to look inwardly when we read his law. If all this law ends up saying they to you, they shall not do that. They shall not do this. They shall not. Thou mean you. Thou don't mean they. And if you can't do that and look internally, you're going to have some serious issues. Because we can all be righteous if we base ourselves off a wicked friend. We all know somebody who is way more wicked than we ever could possibly be. So if we just use that as a measuring stick, then we can say, well, at least I'm not like James. I only killed 2 people this week. You know? Go ahead.
Even in laughter the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. The backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways, and a good man shall be satisfied from himself. The simple believes every word, but the prudent man looks well to his going.
Right. You have to learn how to weigh what's being said and pause and wait for some things. See, the adversary, the devil, wants to be first to tell you his side. And if you take on to every story that's coming unto you, then you have not fully dealt with that situation with diligent inquiry. See, it says that if we're going to deal with the matter, we must have diligent inquiry to deal with that matter. So if it's three people in that situation, have you talked to all three of those people? Or you just talked to the one who pulled you to the side? What about those other people? And let's see if that person that pulled you to the side, let's see if they'll say that in front of the person. That's how they tell you or get to tell you a false narrative.
You know, I don't want to keep up nothing.
Why they keeping up something?
You know, I don't want to keep up nothing. But, you know, word on the street.
Well, let's go talk to him.
Well, you know, no, I just want to be humble.
If that's what you were doing, then you should have kept that to yourself. But now that you done uttered it out of your mouth, we finna go over here and talk to this individual that you said it about. I bet they won't come to you no more. I guarantee you that you won't be on their list of people to shovel crap to. When they pull out their shoveling crap list,
You know what? Scratch that brother off. Last time he called me out.
you won't be on their list no more. You won't be on their list no more. You take care of that business. So if you keep being on that list, I can tell you why you keep being on that list, because you ain't took care of your business. Take care of your business, you ain't gonna be on that list no more. Go ahead, bro.
A wise man fears and departs from evil, but the fool rages and is confident.
The fool rages and is confident in their rage. You can't tell a fool they ain't right. You can't tell a fool they ain't right. Go ahead, bro.
He that is soon angry deals foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. The simple inherits folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. The evil bow before the good, and the wicked at the gates of the righteous.
The evil shall bow before the good. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. See, Yahweh judges things on his time. And Yahweh allows some things because those things are going to inspire you. And Yahweh wants you to be inspired. So every now and then, he got to let a Judas in. Let him sit right by you. Let him take hold to you. And it shall be inspiration unto you. 1 Corinthians 11, and let's read verses 17 through 20.
Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not, that you come together not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it.
There are divisions among you, and I partly believe it. Why? Go ahead.
For there must be also heresies among you.
There must be heresies among you. You believe that we're going to always walk in the same thing? No. There has to be a heresy, a false doctrine, a false belief. Why? Because Yahweh is doing something with that. Go ahead.
That they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
Right. So then you find out, sometimes you're looking at a situation and you know that this is wrong. You know that this is wrong. But then there may be one question in somebody's family and you say, wow, that person doesn't see that? Why is it that this person who's intelligent in the word does not see that? They always saw it. Heresies happen that they may be made manifest who's approved. So what happened? They couldn't discipline the individual because they agreed with him. Matter of fact, they were the ones teaching the individual that. So the heresy happened not for us to see the ones that we knew were foul. The heresy happened so we could find out the one who we did not know was foul. The one who appeared to be calm, quiet, and humble. That was the biggest devil in the bunch. Because that was the one who was secretly telling the others. Yahweh know what he doing. Go ahead.
When you come together, therefore, into one place, this is not to eat the Adonai's supper.
All right, jump to verse 28.
But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup.
And do we ever get to that point of self-examination where we are examining ourselves and not examining every individual that we see? Examine when you talk about the prayer. The two individuals that's praying. I thank, my Elohim. I fast twice in a week. I give to the poor. And I'm glad that I'm not like this publican. And then the other brother said, Yahweh, forgive me, a sinner. Is your look outward, or do you ever look inward? Go ahead.
For he that eats and drinks unworthily eats and drinks damnation to himself, not discerning the Adonai's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged.
For if we would judge ourselves, all right, are you able to remove the leaven out of you that Yahweh shows unto you? Do you go in your house, read the ingredients, find leaven, and then make an excuse why the leaven can stay in your house?
I mean, it's bad, but it's delicious. How about I just put you in the left part of the freezer? How about that?
Are you going to make an excuse why that needs to stay there? If it's leaven, it has to come out. And you may find that if you put some leaven out, it may become unleavened once it sit outside for a little while. But as long as you sitting and letting it sit in there, it ain't never going to become unleavened. Because you giving it the okay to stay how it is. Yahweh has to do the same thing. Why do you think it's written? Cast them out to Satan so that they learn not to blaspheme. And maybe when it's their opportunity to come and sit back down, they come and sit back down with some respect and learn how to keep their mouth shut. Go ahead.
But when we are judged, we're chastened of the Adonai, that we should not be condemned with the world.
All right. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 12. Exodus 12, and we're going to start that at verse 21.
Then Moshe called for all the elders of Israel, and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover.
So in this situation, instead of Yahweh pulling the leaven out of Israel's situation, they are living in a land where the people who own the land, they are the leaven. They have to be removed from that situation because this is not something that they own. Go ahead.
And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning.
And Yahweh is bringing out many people, even people, there are people that's coming that's not even Israel. There's a mixed multitude that comes out of Egypt at this punishment of Egypt. But Egypt got away with operating that way for a very long time. Go ahead.
For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in onto your houses to smite you.
Right. So then this is the symbol to the destroyer not to come in your house. So the question is, are you under the blood? When he sees the blood, the destroyer has instructions. Every house where you don't see this, go in there and kill the firstborn. See, this is also one of those things where it would do you some good to even know the right people. You have to wonder if a couple of the Egyptians had listened, if the destroyer would have passed over their house too. Because he didn't say, just go kill all the Egyptians. Go kill all the ones that don't have this over their door. Then go in that house and kill the first. But what if an Egyptian said, I respect the God of Israel? Go ahead.
And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to you and to your sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when you be come to the land which Yahweh will give you, according as he has promised, that you shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean you by this service? That you shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses.
He passed over our houses. Go ahead.
And the people bowed their head and worshipped. And the children of Israel went away and did as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron. So did they.
And see, the whole part of the destroyer passing over our houses was about, there was something different from our house than the house of the heathen. You know what we do today? We want our house to be just like the heathen. We want to look just like the heathen. We want to dress just like the heathen. Then when the destroyer comes, we want to try to negotiate. Look, I'm really Hebrew. I'm trying to figure some things out. I'm just, you caught me on the wrong day, destroyer. Why you didn't come yesterday? I was in so much culture. Right. Go ahead, bro.
And it came to pass that at midnight Yahweh smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
And think about, after all this time that they have reigned, now it's time to take that L. Oh, that first L hurt. I don't care who you are. Matter of fact, the more you have won, the L hurts worse. When you 15-0, oh man, 15-1 hurt. That's why you see the big muscle-bound dudes crying on the sideline. One loss. They just took that one loss at the wrong time. And you got other people that done took 5-6 losses. They walking off the field. Well, we gave it our best. What happened? What happened? All right? You know what I'm saying? They have gotten tough because of the L. We want to win everything. You need to be strengthened every now and then. You need to take an L. But he will make sure that the L you take is not a loss of life L. You understand? But you need to take an L every now and then. It builds character. You need to have an L somewhere in there. Go ahead.
And he called for Moshe and Aaron by night, and said, rise up, and get you forth from among my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh as you have said. Also take your flocks and your herds, as you have said.
Now take everything now. Go ahead.
And be gone, and bless me also.
And bless me. You've been ruling over us with rigor. Taking whatever you wanted. But bless me on your way out. Go ahead.
And the Egyptians were urging upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, we be all dead men. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moshe, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
And if I get a chance when we leave out of here, I'm borrowing a whole bunch of jewels myself. I'm borrowing everything. Let me get those diamonds right there. Let me borrow that. Mm-hmm. We ain't gonna need no light in the wilderness.
Bling, bling.
Let me borrow this. Right. Now this is your definition of black borrowing. Because we not ever gonna see you again. So we not paying this back. You understand? This is black borrowing right here. At its best. Because I ain't never gonna see you again.
So let me borrow that chain. Let me borrow that ring. Ooh, look at the pinky one. That's nice. Yeah. Let me borrow that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go ahead, brother.
And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required.
Uh-huh.
And they spoiled the Egyptians.
Right. Now, but see, this is how Yahweh causes a situation to be dealt with. They have suffered. Even when it says 430 years, part of that was in Canaan. He's calling this whole captivity the 430. Okay? Even the time in Canaan. So you have all of this situation where they have been a stranger in part of the land that actually is theirs. Okay? Yahweh didn't use them people that took your stuff. They're just a bank. He gonna make them get all that back. So let them rejoice in all the things that they believe that they have stolen from you and from Yahweh. Yahweh gonna make them pay it back in interest. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass, that all the host of Yahweh went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto Yahweh for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of Yahweh to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. And Yahweh said unto Moshe and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. But every man's servant that is bought for money, when you have circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof.
Mm-hmm.
A foreigner and an hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. You shall not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof.
Mm-hmm.
All the generation of the children of, all the congregation, of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with you, and will keep the Passover to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised.
Uh-huh.
And then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourns among you.
Right, and you have to keep that same mentality when someone enters your house. You have in your house a dress code. Then you let one of your sister's kids come over and they got their patootie and tank hanging all out. Now what you think that's gonna do in your house? What you think just happened? You got one law in your house, but now that law changed when your sister's kids got there. Now either your sister and her kids gonna have to put some clothes on, or they gonna have to go on the outside of that door. One law. To him that is homeborn and a stranger. You're coming in here, this is the law in here. Now if there's a problem with the law in here, go on the other side of that threshold and you can shake what your mama gave you. You can go ahead and do whatever that is you want to do on the other side. Right there. Just go past that mailbox. Past that mailbox, I'm telling you, you free to be what you want to be. But past this mailbox right here, I'm going to tell you what you're going to be in here. Because there's one law. Go ahead.
Thus did all the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moshe and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that Yahweh did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies.
All right. Now, in doing all of that, I want to go to this next graphic so that we understand what we have coming up for our the first part. Of course, we're leading up unto our months, but when we get down to it, the part in red, the vernal equinox, the first day of spring, we've gone over all of those things where the earth tilts. We then start to get the change in seasons. We are now getting ready for this growth that has taken place. And it doesn't always fall on this, but it actually comes April 1st. So you find, we shall be those April Fools once again. But it wasn't just about New Year's being in April. We were also celebrating all the other things that are happening. Because understand, things were always going to be in April, even if you did, the New Year began before. You were going to have Passover. Unleavened bread was going to end up being in April because it's 14 days. So either way, they still are dealing with us in that manner to try to give us a low self-esteem about the culture that we have. And when you look down at it or examine it, you find the Gentiles understand what they're doing. Understand, when we read all of these things about the Janus, man, this was on a locked website. This was not a religious website. They understand what they're doing. It's us that are going to fight you when you get ready to try to give us some form of understanding. We are going to lash out. And we are the ones who understand the least about what's happening. We are fighting out of feelings. Meanwhile, the Gentiles standing right there know everything that you're saying is right. But they watching you and your people come against you. But they know.
I better not get in this fight. At least they join together and tear me to pieces.
So they sit there and watch y'all argue. And you know how I know that? Because the situation has happened before. And after the other part is gone, you can tell them they keep looking at it. The thing you said was absolutely right. I didn't think it was my place. Hey, and I understood why that. I wouldn't jump in between two pit bulls fighting either. You don't do that. You see, hey, you better not, and you got your little chihuahua with you, better not go up in there. No, I'm gonna let them finish. No, I don't blame them one bit for staying out of that situation, letting the other person go on, and then saying their piece about what they know. Because they don't do this thing out of not knowing. When they sacrifice, when they do their New Year's celebration, most of these people know what they're doing. And when whoever explained to the pastor watch night service, they knew what they were doing. We didn't know. So we're going to have our Hebrew New Year, April 1st. That's Friday, 8 p.m. Then we have our Passover feast, which is April 14th at sundown. So that's Thursday night. Then we have the first day of unleavened bread, Friday the 15th at sundown. Then we have the Feast of First Fruits. All males shall make an appearance. That is Saturday night, April 16th. We must be sanctified against the third day. That's what that little red part there, sanctify against the third day. As it is written, come not at your wives, that we are completely sanctified for that third day as we make our appearance unto Yahweh our Elohim. And then, of course, we are making sure that we are having unleavened bread and unleavened items are all out of our houses throughout that whole week, beginning Friday, April 15th. And then the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread will be Thursday night, April 21st. So that will be Thursday at sundown, Feast of Unleavened Bread. So then that, as we see, that Thursday night is then going to begin a Sabbath. So you need to have that Friday off. Not the day that you see on here, because we are beginning at sundown. So it is the day following that will be the Sabbath. Okay? It is the day following. Whenever you see Sabbath beside one of these things, it is the next day that you need to have off. All right? So that's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.